Hello, beautiful soul. I want you to stop for just a moment and take a deep breath with me. Right now, wherever you are listening to this, whether you're walking down a quiet street, sitting in your kitchen with a warm cup of coffee, or lying in bed after a long day, I want you to know that what you're feeling about English is completely normal. That heaviness in your chest when someone asks you to speak English, that moment when your mind goes completely blank even though you know the words, that voice in your head telling you that you're just not good at this, none of that means you're bad at English. It means you're human, and it means you're afraid. You see, my friend, I've walked the same path that you're walking right now. I know what it feels like to have words dancing on the tip of your tongue, but feeling like they're locked behind a door you can't open. I know the frustration of understanding everything when you're reading alone in your room, but feeling like your brain shuts down the moment someone starts speaking to you in English. I know that ache of wanting so desperately to express who you really are, your thoughts, your humor, your dreams, but feeling trapped behind a language barrier that seems impossible to cross. But here's what I discovered, and what I want to share with you today, like a secret between close friends. The problem was never my intelligence, and it's not yours either. The problem was never that English is too difficult, and it's not that for you either. The real problem, the only problem, was fear. Fear dressed up as perfectionism. Fear disguised as not being ready yet. Fear pretending to be logic when it whispered that it was better to stay silent than to make a mistake. Learning English is not about memorizing thousands of grammar rules or having a perfect accent that sounds like you were born in New York or London. Learning English is about finding your voice in a new language and giving yourself permission to be imperfect while you grow. It's about understanding that every single person who speaks English fluently today, including native speakers, started exactly where you are right now, with uncertainty, with mistakes, with moments of confusion. Think of English not as a test you need to pass, but as a bridge you're building between who you are now and who you want to become. Every word you learn, every sentence you speak, every mistake you make and learn from is another plank on that bridge. You're not behind schedule, you're not too slow, and you're certainly not bad at this. You're exactly where you need to be, and you're braver than you think for even trying. Today, I'm going to walk with you through a different way of seeing English, a way that will make you feel lighter, more confident, and ready to speak without that crushing weight of fear on your shoulders. By the end of our time together, you're going to understand that the English you need to live the life you want is already inside you, waiting to be awakened. You're going to learn how to speak with your heart, not just your head, and how to turn every single day into an opportunity to grow closer to the fluent, confident person you're becoming. So settle in, take another deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. You're not alone anymore, and you're definitely not bad at English. You're just afraid, and that's something we can change together, one gentle step at a time. Block 1. Breaking down fear plus fluency mindset minus 1,000 words. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Right now, as you're listening to me, you're already proving that you understand English beautifully. You're following my thoughts, you're connecting with my words, and you're probably even feeling emotions as I speak. That's not the skill of someone who is bad at English. That's the skill of someone who has been convinced by fear that they're not good enough yet. Fear is a master of disguise, especially when it comes to learning languages. It shows up as that voice in your head saying you need to study more grammar before you can speak. It appears as the feeling that you need to wait until you're perfect before you can join a conversation. It disguises itself as the logical thought that you should practice more in private before you dare to speak in public. But here's the truth that fear doesn't want you to know. There is no perfect time to start speaking, and there is no amount of preparation that will ever feel like enough if you're waiting for fear to give you permission. When a baby learns to walk, they don't spend months studying the mechanics of balance and coordination. They don't wait until they can guarantee they won't fall. They simply stand up, take a step, fall down, get back up, and try again. Each fall teaches them something new about balance, about movement, about the feeling of their own 2 feet on the ground. They don't judge themselves for falling. They celebrate the moment they stayed upright for just a second longer than the time before. This is exactly how language learning works, and it's exactly how you learned your first language, even though you don't remember it. You didn't wait until you could speak perfectly before you started babbling. You didn't postpone making sounds until you understood all the grammar rules. You simply started expressing yourself with whatever sounds you could make, and slowly, naturally, beautifully, those sounds became words, and those words became sentences, and those sentences became the voice you use to express your thoughts and feelings every single day. The only difference between learning your first language and learning English is that when you were a baby, you didn't have fear whispering in your ear. You didn't have that critical voice telling you that you weren't good enough, that you were making too many mistakes, that you should be ashamed of how you sounded. You simply had the pure desire to communicate, to connect, to express what was in your heart, and that desire was stronger than any fear. I want you to try something right now, and I want you to say it out loud, even if you're in a public place, even if it feels silly, even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. Say this with me: I am not behind. I am not starting again. Feel how those words sound in your mouth. Notice that speaking English doesn't hurt, it doesn't damage anything, and the world doesn't end when your accent shows through. Say it again: I am not behind. I am just starting again. The truth is, every conversation in English is a small victory, even if it doesn't feel perfect. Every time you understand a movie without subtitles, even if you miss some words, you're succeeding. Every time you read something in English and get the main idea, even if you have to look up some vocabulary, you're proving that you're not bad at this. You're just learning, and learning always involves uncertainty, always involves moments of confusion, and always involves making mistakes that teach you something new. Fluency isn't about never making mistakes. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget words, they use incorrect grammar sometimes, they mispronounce things when they're tired or excited or nervous. Fluency is about being comfortable with imperfection while you communicate what matters to you. It's about caring more about connection than perfection, more about expressing your thoughts than impressing anyone with flawless grammar. I want you to imagine English as a garden that you're growing. You don't plant a seed and expect a flower to bloom perfectly the next day. You water it gently, you give it sunlight, you trust the process, and you celebrate the tiny green shoots that appear long before the beautiful flowers. Every English word you learn is like planting a seed. Every conversation you have, even the awkward ones, is like watering your garden. Every mistake you make and learn from is like adding nutrients to the soil that will help your fluency grow stronger and more beautiful. The mistake that keeps so many people stuck is thinking that they need to be perfect before they deserve to speak. But the truth is the opposite. You need to speak imperfectly in order to become more perfect. You need to make mistakes in order to learn what works. You need to feel awkward and uncertain sometimes in order to build the confidence that comes from pushing through that discomfort and discovering that you can communicate, you can connect, and you can express who you are in English. So right now, I want you to make a decision with me. I want you to decide that from this moment forward, you're going to measure your English success not by how perfectly you speak, but by how courageously you try. Not by how many grammar rules you know, but by how many real thoughts and feelings you express. Not by how much you sound like a native speaker, but by how authentically you sound like yourself, speaking English. Repeat this with me one more time and really mean it. I am not bad at English. I am just afraid, and I'm ready to be brave. Now that we've started to dissolve that fear together, I want to teach you something that will change everything about how you experience English. Most people think that listening to English is about catching every single word, understanding every reference, and never feeling confused. But that's not how listening works, even in your native language. Real listening, the kind that builds fluency and confidence, is about listening with your heart, not just your ears. When you listen to English with anxiety, trying desperately to catch every word, your brain becomes tense and actually hears less. It's like trying to catch water with a closed fist instead of cupped hands. But when you listen with curiosity and gentleness, when you allow yourself to flow with the rhythm and emotion of the language, something magical happens. You start to understand not just words, but feelings, intentions, and meanings that go beyond vocabulary. Right now, as you're listening to me, I want you to notice something. You're not translating every word I say back into your native language before you understand it. You're simply following the flow of my thoughts, feeling the emotion in my voice, and understanding my meaning directly in English. This is what thinking in English feels like, and you're already doing it more than you realize. The secret to developing this skill is to start small and be incredibly gentle with yourself. Throughout your day, instead of thinking everything in your native language first, try to notice simple things directly in English. When you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking the translated version of "I need to brush my teeth," try thinking simply, "I brush my teeth now." When you're making your morning coffee or tea, instead of planning your day in your native language, try thinking, "I make coffee. The coffee smells good. I feel awake now." Don't worry if this feels strange at first. Your brain has been thinking in your native language for your entire life, so it's natural that thinking in English will feel new and unfamiliar. But just like any new habit, The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Start with the present moment, with simple observations about what you're doing and feeling right now. As you're listening to me, try thinking along with me in English. When I say the morning sun feels warm, let yourself think the morning sun feels warm without translating it. When I say I feel grateful for this moment, allow your mind to repeat, I feel grateful for this moment in English. You're training your brain to live in English, not just visit it occasionally. This practice of thinking in English transforms everything about your relationship with the language. Instead of English being something foreign that you have to reach for, it becomes something familiar that lives inside you. Instead of feeling like you're wearing someone else's clothes when you speak English, it starts to feel like putting on your favorite sweater. One of the most beautiful ways to practice this is through what I call English moments throughout your day. These are tiny pockets of time when you consciously choose to experience life in English. When you're walking and you see a beautiful tree, instead of thinking about it in your native language, try thinking, that tree is beautiful. The leaves are green and yellow. I love autumn. When you taste something delicious, think, this tastes wonderful. I enjoy this food. I feel happy. The magic happens when you start to connect English with real emotions and experiences, instead of just grammar exercises and vocabulary lists. When you think, I miss my family in English while you're actually feeling that emotion, the phrase becomes part of you in a way that studying it in a textbook never could. When you think, I feel proud of myself in English after accomplishing something, those words carry real emotional weight. Try this with me right now. Think about something that makes you happy, something that brings you joy or peace. Now, instead of thinking about it in your native language, try to describe that feeling directly in English. Maybe it's, I love the sound of rain, or my cat makes me smile, or music helps me feel calm. Don't worry about perfect grammar. Focus on connecting the English words with the real feeling in your heart. This is also the secret to understanding native speakers when they talk quickly or use expressions you haven't studied. When you're listening with your heart, instead of frantically trying to translate every word, you start to pick up on the emotional rhythm of the conversation. You begin to understand the feeling behind the words, which often tells you more about the meaning than the individual vocabulary does. I want you to practice what I call gentle listening every day. Choose something in English that you enjoy, whether it's music, a podcast, a TV show, or even videos like this one. Instead of stressing about understanding everything, just let the English wash over you like warm water. Notice the rhythm, the emotion, the music of the language. Allow yourself to understand what you understand and be curious about what you don't, without judgment. When you hear a phrase that sounds beautiful or useful, repeat it gently to yourself. Not because you have to memorize it, but because you want to feel how it sounds in your mouth, how it feels to express that thought in English. This is how children learn language, and it's how you can rediscover the joy of learning English. Remember, every moment you spend thinking in English, even if it's just for a few seconds, is building the neural pathways that will make fluency feel natural and effortless. You're not just learning a language. You're creating a new way of experiencing the world. If this message is touching your heart and helping you see English differently, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and become part of our community. And please, share in the comments below one simple phrase you practice thinking in English today. It could be as simple as, I feel hopeful, or the sky is blue. When you share it, you're not just practicing English. You're connecting with others who are on this same beautiful journey of growth and discovery. Here's something beautiful that I want you to understand. You don't need to wait until you're fluent to start living in English. You don't need to postpone expressing yourself until you have perfect pronunciation or complete vocabulary. The English you have right now, today, this very moment, is enough to start connecting with the world in meaningful ways. Let me show you how to take the words and phrases you already know and turn them into real conversations that will build your confidence and expand your world. Most people think that speaking English means having long, complex conversations about sophisticated topics. But the truth is, most of real life happens in simple moments with simple words. When you buy your morning coffee and say, "Good morning, 1 coffee please, thank you," you're having a real English conversation. When you smile at someone and say, "Nice weather today," you're connecting in English. When you ask, "Excuse me, where is the bathroom?" you're solving real problems in English. These small interactions are not practice for your real English life. They are your real English life. Every time you use English to accomplish something, to connect with someone, or to express how you feel, you're proving to yourself that you can communicate, that you can be understood, and that English works for you. Let me walk you through some everyday situations and show you how the English you already know can carry you through them beautifully. Imagine you're at a store and you want to buy some fruit. You don't need complex vocabulary. You can say, "Hello, I want to buy some apples. How much?" When the person tells you the price, you can say, "Okay, thank you," and hand them the money. When they give you change, you can smile and say, "Have a nice day." This is a complete successful conversation in English, and you probably already know every word you need. Or imagine you're meeting someone new, maybe a neighbor or a colleague. You don't need to discuss philosophy or politics. You can start with, "Hi, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you." When they introduce themselves, you can say, "Nice to meet you too. How long have you lived here?" Or, "Do you like working here?" These simple questions open doors to real human connection, and they use vocabulary that you likely already understand. The secret is to start where you are and build from there. If you know how to say, "I like coffee," you can say, "I like coffee too," when someone mentions they're getting coffee. If you know how to say, "I'm tired," you can share that when someone asks how you're feeling. If you know how to say thank you, you can express gratitude dozens of times throughout your day. Here's what I want you to try this week. And I want you to think of it as collecting small victories rather than testing your English. Every day, try to have one tiny interaction in English. It could be ordering food, asking for directions, making small talk with a cashier, or even just greeting someone with a genuine good morning. After each interaction, no matter how it went, I want you to celebrate it. You used English in real life. You communicated with another human being. You were brave enough to try. Don't evaluate these interactions based on how perfectly you spoke. Evaluate them based on whether you communicated what you needed to communicate. Did the person understand what you wanted? Did you understand their response? Did you feel a moment of connection? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you succeeded. I want to tell you about something I call micro wins, and they're going to change how you see your progress in English. A micro win is any moment when English works for you, no matter how small. When you understand a joke in English, that's a micro win. When you remember the word you want to use without thinking about it, that's a micro win. When someone compliments your English, that's a micro win. When you help someone who doesn't speak your native language by speaking English with them, that's a micro win. These micro wins are not just nice moments. They're proof that you're becoming the English speaker you want to be. They're evidence that all your learning, all your practice, all your courage to keep trying despite fear is working. Start noticing them, celebrating them, and collecting them like precious gems. Sometimes English will feel natural and easy, and sometimes it will feel challenging and awkward. Both experiences are normal, and both are helping you grow. On the easy days, enjoy the flow and confidence. On the challenging days, remember that you're building your English muscles, and muscles only grow when they're stretched and challenged. I also want you to understand that making mistakes in real conversations is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're living in English. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget words, they use incorrect grammar, they mispronounce things, and somehow the world continues to turn and people continue to understand each other. When you make a mistake in English, try responding with curiosity instead of shame. Think, oh, interesting, I learned something new, instead of I'm terrible at this. Think, now I know how to say that better next time, instead of I should never try to speak. Your mistakes are not evidence of your inadequacy. They're evidence of your courage to communicate beyond your comfort zone. Here's something powerful you can do. Start keeping what I call a confidence journal. Every evening, write down one thing you did in English that day, no matter how small. Maybe you understood a word in a song. Maybe you helped someone with directions. Maybe you ordered food without pointing at the menu. Write it down and acknowledge yourself for taking that step. Over time, you'll have a beautiful record of all the ways English is becoming part of your real life. Remember, fluency is not a destination you arrive at. It's a journey you live every day. Every conversation, every interaction, every moment you choose English over silence is making you more fluent, more confident, and more connected to the world around you. Let's talk about something that might be causing you more anxiety than it needs to: how you sound when you speak English. I know there's a voice in your head that judges your accent, criticizes your pronunciation, and makes you feel self-conscious about how different you sound when you speak English compared to when you speak your native language. But today, I want to help you fall in love with your voice in English, exactly as it is, while gently helping it become clearer and more confident. First, let me tell you something that might surprise you. There is no such thing as perfect English pronunciation. Even native speakers from different regions sound completely different from each other. Someone from Texas sounds different from someone from New York, who sounds different from someone from London, who sounds different from someone from Australia. They're all speaking English beautifully, and they all have value and worth in their unique way of expressing themselves. Your accent, your unique way of pronouncing English words, is not a flaw to be hidden or ashamed of. It's part of your story, part of what makes you uniquely you. It tells the world that you're brave enough to communicate across cultures, intelligent enough to learn multiple languages, and confident enough to express yourself even when it feels uncertain. Your accent is not something to apologize for. It's something to be proud of. However, I also understand that you want to be understood clearly and that sometimes pronunciation can be a barrier to communication. The goal is not to eliminate your accent or to sound exactly like a native speaker. The goal is to speak clearly enough that people can understand you easily and confidently enough that you feel comfortable expressing yourself fully. The secret to improving your pronunciation is not to focus on perfection, but to focus on clarity and emotion. When you speak English with genuine feeling, when you care more about what you're saying than how you're saying it, your pronunciation naturally becomes clearer and more engaging. People listen to emotion and intention more than they listen to perfect pronunciation. Here's a technique that will transform your pronunciation. I call it speaking with your whole heart. Instead of thinking about each sound you're making, focus on the feeling you want to communicate. If you're saying, "I'm excited about this opportunity," don't worry about whether your D sound is perfect. Focus on actually feeling excited as you speak. Let that genuine excitement carry your voice, and you'll notice that your pronunciation becomes more natural and expressive. Another powerful technique is what I call shadow speaking. Find someone speaking English whose voice you enjoy listening to, whether it's in a movie, a podcast, or a YouTube video. Play a short section and speak along with them, trying to match not just the words, but the rhythm, the emotional tone, and the energy. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on feeling what it's like to speak with that confidence and flow. You can also practice this shadow speaking with music. Choose English songs that you love and sing along with them. Music has a natural rhythm that helps your mouth learn the flow of English sounds. When you sing in English, you're practicing pronunciation in a joyful, relaxed way that bypasses all that self-consciousness and criticism. I want you to try something right now that might feel vulnerable, but will help you tremendously. I want you to record yourself speaking English for just 1 minute. You can talk about your day, describe something you can see, or just read a paragraph from a book. Don't prepare, don't script it, just speak naturally. Then listen to the recording with compassion, the same way you would listen to a dear friend who was learning your native language. When you listen to yourself, notice what you did well. Maybe your emotion came through clearly. Maybe certain words sounded particularly good. Maybe your pace was comfortable to listen to. Celebrate these good moments before you think about anything you want to improve. Building confidence in what you're already doing well is much more effective than criticizing what's not perfect yet. If you notice areas where you want to improve your pronunciation, choose just one sound or one type of word to focus on at a time. Maybe you want to work on the TH sound, or maybe you want to practice stress patterns in longer words. Practice this focus area for a week in a playful, gentle way. Then choose something else to work on. Remember that pronunciation improves gradually, not dramatically. Each time you speak English, you're training the muscles in your mouth, your tongue, your lips to move in new ways. Just like learning to play a musical instrument, this physical coordination takes time and patience. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to a child learning to ride a bicycle. Here's something else I want you to understand. Confidence in your speaking voice comes not from achieving perfection, but from accepting imperfection while continuing to communicate. The most engaging speakers are not those who never make mistakes. They're those who speak with passion, authenticity, and genuine care for their message. When you speak English, speak with the same warmth and personality that you have in your native language. Don't try to become a different person when you switch languages. Bring your humor, your kindness, your intelligence, your unique perspective into your English speaking. People connect with authenticity much more than they connect with perfect pronunciation. Practice speaking English to yourself every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Talk about your plans for the day, describe what you're cooking, share your opinions about a movie you watched. Get comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking English in a relaxed, natural way. The more familiar this becomes, the more confident you'll feel speaking with others. Your voice in English is beautiful exactly as it is right now, and it's becoming more beautiful every time you have the courage to use it. Trust in your ability to communicate. Focus on your message rather than your accent. And remember that every person who hears you speak English is witnessing your courage and your intelligence in action. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to take a moment to feel how different this feels from when we started. When you first pressed play on this video, you might have been carrying the weight of thinking you were bad at English. The heaviness of fear, the burden of believing that fluency was something that happened to other people but not to you. But now, I hope you can feel something lighter in your chest, something more hopeful in your heart. You are not bad at English. You never were bad at English. You were just afraid. And fear has a way of making us forget how capable and intelligent and resilient we actually are. Fear makes us focus on what we don't know instead of celebrating what we do know. Fear makes us wait for permission to be imperfect instead of giving ourselves permission to be human. But here's what I want you to remember as you continue on this journey. Learning English is not about becoming someone else. It's not about losing your identity, your culture, or your unique way of seeing the world. Learning English is about expanding who you already are. It's about giving yourself more tools to express the thoughts and feelings and dreams that are already inside you. It's about building bridges between your heart and the hearts of people you haven't met yet. Every word you learn, every conversation you have, every mistake you make and grow from is expanding your world and expanding your possibilities. You're not just learning vocabulary and grammar rules. You're learning new ways to connect, new ways to explore, new ways to contribute to the world around you. You're becoming someone who can help a lost tourist, who can make a friend from another country, who can understand stories and ideas from cultures different from your own. I want you to carry this truth with you. You are not perfect, and you are progressing. These two things can be true at the same time. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to celebrate how far you've come. You don't have to postpone feeling proud of yourself until you reach some imaginary finish line of fluency. You can feel proud right now of every brave moment you've chosen English over silence, every time you've tried despite feeling uncertain, every small step you've taken toward the person you're becoming. The path of learning English is not a straight line. There will be days when you feel confident and days when you feel confused. There will be conversations that flow easily and conversations that feel challenging. There will be moments when you surprise yourself with how much you understand, and moments when you feel like you're starting over. All of this is not only normal, it's necessary. It's how growth works, and it's how you build the resilience and confidence that will serve you for the rest of your life. I want you to make a promise to yourself right now. Promise that you will be as kind to yourself as you would be to a good friend who was learning your native language. Promise that you will celebrate small victories instead of waiting for perfect moments. Promise that you will measure your success not by how much you still have to learn, but by how much courage you show up with every day. Remember that every person who speaks English fluently today was once exactly where you are now. They had moments of doubt, moments of embarrassment, moments of feeling overwhelmed. But they continued anyway, not because they were braver or smarter or more talented than you, but because they understood something that you're learning today, that the only way to learn a language is to live it, imperfectly and courageously, one conversation at a time. English is not just a skill you're developing. It's a gift you're giving yourself. It's the gift of being able to connect across cultures, to access information and entertainment and opportunities that can enrich your life in ways you can't even imagine yet. It's the gift of proving to yourself that you can do difficult things, that you can grow beyond your comfort zone, that you can become more than you thought possible. As you go forward from here, I want you to approach your English learning with playfulness instead of pressure, with curiosity instead of criticism, with compassion instead of judgment. Treat every interaction in English as an experiment rather than a test. Treat every mistake as information rather than failure. Treat every moment of confusion as an invitation to grow rather than evidence that you're not good enough. Speak English with your whole heart, not just your head. Let your personality shine through. Let your emotions guide your words. Let your genuine desire to communicate carry you through moments of uncertainty. The world needs to hear what you have to say in your voice, with your unique perspective and experience and wisdom. And remember, you're not walking this path alone. There are millions of people around the world who are learning English just like you, who have the same fears and hopes and dreams that you do. We're all growing together, supporting each other, cheering each other on. When you succeed, we all succeed. When you find your voice in English, you inspire others to find theirs. If this message has touched your heart today, if it's helped you see English learning in a new way, I would be honored if you would subscribe to our channel and become part of our community of brave, beautiful learners. We're here to support each other. to celebrate each other's progress, and to remind each other that we're not bad at English, we're just human beings courageously expanding our ability to connect with the world. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Share with us your favorite sentence from today's episode, or tell us one thing you learned about yourself and your relationship with English. When you share, you're not just practicing your writing. You're connecting with others who understand exactly what this journey feels like. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for being brave enough to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep believing in yourself even when it feels uncertain. You are enough exactly as you are, and you're becoming more every single day. Until we meet again, be gentle with yourself, be proud of your progress, and remember, you are not bad at English. You're just afraid, and that's something that changes every time you choose courage over comfort. Keep shining, beautiful soul. The world is waiting to hear your voice.